Hello, hello everybody. Kyle says we gotta talk about how lost Saba is and why Slish keeps screwing up. Yeah, we'll get to it. Well, welcome in everybody. Oof. It was a barn burner. It was a dramatic game, an exciting one, I'm sure, for a neutral. I mean, I thought it was pretty exciting overall anyway. Unfortunately, though, we didn't come away with the desired result. We didn't come away with any result. Nope, Miami snatched all 3 points and made out like bandits. Did they deserve it? I think so. I think they deserved the 3 points because we did not, again, finish our dinner. And there's a lot of multiple reasons for that we can get into. Multiple culprits of that tonight as well. Yeah, big bad Messi comes to town, and unfortunately we were not able to do what we have done and what we are known to do for the past season, at least, and are infamous for from the playoffs. Unfortunately, we were not able to continue to upset Miami and be their boogeyman, although we did play them pretty hard. And if things just happen to go a different way, luck maybe been on our side, we could have absolutely won this game. That's probably the biggest reason why AJ elected for the words heartbreak for the title of this video. So, without any further ado, I'm going to see if I can get AJ's camera to work on my thing. For some reason I have to always do one of these real quick, and it should pop up. There it is. And now he's over there. Yep, he's taking a second, but he's here. He's finally arrived. There we go. AJ, welcome in. Yeah, it's I mean, kind of a little bit expected, but it still hurts nonetheless. What did you think? Obviously, you know, you were in the stadium. How did that feel? You know, take us through it. Oh, 1 second. Let me make sure you're not muted. 2 seconds before you go into a tirade. There you go. Yeah. You're free. You're free. Unleashed.
The shackles are released. But yeah, it was a pretty good atmosphere going in, and you know, it wasn't maybe quite the other matches. It was a Sunday night, a little bit more muted to a degree. It wasn't a full open bowl, and yeah, you know, Sunday night soccer that MLS wanted to bill it as. I get it to a degree, maybe why we played at this time, because St. Paddy's Day, you know, maybe all the festivities were already done and the hangover is a little less so. But yeah, our hangover of not being able to score goals on a continual basis and leaving a lot on the plate is very frustrating. And it seems like a continuous thing that we cannot shake. And our start to our season right now, we're in 12th. We've lost 2, won 1, drawn 1. It's not a great start at all. You can come back from it, but it is still like Miami. They're running away a little. Not too bad so far, but still, it's we're already 6 points down. And so, yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, like the return of Brooks Lennon. That was a really great assist. He almost did it again, except Atl Utd was offside. But yeah, I mean, Atl Utd, it was a great goal. I mean, that's exactly what we needed from the right side. Hopefully we do see more of that. But it's those chances that we rue, we don't finish. And this is what happens. When you play well, when you're on top, you need to finish your dinner, like you're saying. You need to put them to the sword, and we did not do it again. And then, yeah, silly mistakes undo us, and it's Messi, who's not known for pressing ability, but yeah, he just just took the ball right off of Schleich when, the fact that we were even trying to belabor it in front of goal, in front of our own goal, like, yeah, you just have to get rid of it and deal with the consequences of getting rid of it later instead of gifting them a golden chance. And Messi, it's like, yeah,
when you have a great white shark like sneaking around in the shallows, like,
like you don't open your wound and start squeezing the blood out. Like, it's you essentially, you close the wound, you start pretty much getting the F out of there, and that's something we couldn't do. And yeah, I mean, Messi in front of goal is as cool as you like. I mean, that's just so cold. Like, he sold a man a dream, then he sold another man a dream, and it was just, lifted the ball, and that's all he had to do. I mean, it's just like, that's what Messi does.
Yeah.
And
1 second, AJ. Just want to let everyone know. I know everyone gets a little heated and pressed after games like this in the chat. Let's all calm it down a little bit. Leo, Charlie, I know I welcome fans from other teams come in and talk. Try to keep it intellectual of sorts. A little bit of respect and decorum, but like, you can have your jobs, your jabs and your jibs and all that good stuff, but I also have to remind you, though, I have to very politely on my side, the decorum behooves me to remind you that we knocked you out of the playoffs, so that means a lot more than a regular season loss. So we'll see you next game. We'll still sit with the MLS Cup, and you can have the Leagues Cup. So all right. Anyway, sorry. Keep going, AJ.
Yeah, and as well, and if in this chat or in the Discord, just be respectful. Don't call each other names that are insulting to the degree of where it's very much that there's sets of people that might be insulted. So just keep it classy. That's what we expect out of everybody here. Jokes, banter, all good, but not at the expense of anybody that are marginalized, that are in a sense can't protect themselves, can't defend themselves. So
just don't use any personal attacks on anyone, and we can just go without that.
All right, but yeah, anyway, so I mean, as far as this match, it's just like, there's so many different moments where it's a good back and forth. I mean, like you were saying, from a neutral standpoint, it's a pretty good game, but we definitely, like, the energy in the second half almost just so static, so to a degree where, like, the energy, as much as we could as fans trying to pour into them, didn't really give much back. It was, again, seemed like a very lethargic second half. And as well, Inter Miami didn't really give that much more energy either. It was just a matter of, you had some subs that came on, and of course Fafa Picot got the winner, last gasp against us on a corner that, I mean, Picot is not big. The fact that he got the header, heading it back to where it came from, and Goose, I feel like, could do a little bit better. It's not the worst goalkeeping, but it is like, it was
watching 2 points slip away from us in slow motion. The ball was coming a mile away. It was the slowest header I feel like I've ever seen go in the net. It was like, just someone get there, and no one, like Latilov's like, well, it's going out, I'm not going to touch it, and then everyone else just couldn't get there in time.
Right, and that's why you have somebody on the back post, and that's didn't happen. But You know, it is. I don't understand.
Yeah, you say this every time. Undone by a guy at the back post every single time.
Yeah, but it's also this. I mean, yes, he headed it back where it came from, but it's still this. Okay, so if Braguzan has somebody there at the back post, he can cheat a little bit towards the other side. He doesn't have to cover the whole goal. So the fact that there's nobody on the line, why? Why is nobody, like, usually it's Brooks Lennon, but I didn't see anybody there. And obviously we were playing with one less defender. And then plus, yeah, you know, Mascara, he came on, he got injured, he got stretchered off.
Like, he came on, instant yellow. Next play was like a giveaway. Next play was an injury. Like, it's like, what the frick is happening?
It's just like, he had the most eventful, like, 5 minutes ever.
That was a Dom Dwyer 5 minutes.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, exactly. The yellow, it's just like, unfortunately, there wasn't a goal. Like, Dom Dwyer would kind of more frequently do for us, but yeah, it's a highly frustrating end to a match that had some good entertainment value in the first half, at least for us. We probably had a really good 20 minutes that we just should have, you know, put it away. And you know, you always knew that, okay, Messi, he's on the pitch, there's gonna be a goal, gonna happen. Just a matter of how quickly can you put it away if you know, if you are on top. And well, there it is. You know, it's not like they're a high pressing team. It's not like they're like suffocating you. It's just, yeah, you can't make mistakes in those areas, and you cannot as well, like, the way that Miami is able to just, you know, continue to play tiki-taka, play around you. Like, we were trying to play that a little bit. We were trying to play up-tempo. But unfortunately, yeah, we don't have the technicians to be able to always do that. And I feel like, yeah, we should have probably played a little bit more direct at times instead of...
Dude, I have so many opinions about this game. It's crazy. One thing, just, you know, you're kind of hitting on it right now, so I'll just take a bite, was the fact that we didn't, again, utilize our speed a lot. Miami's not a fast team. I feel like we never put guys on breaks and just sent them, and our runners were never getting, like, catapulted out to try and, you know, overcome another team. They just, like, where are our guys getting caught in offside traps? Just didn't happen. It just, like, didn't happen. Like, I want to see 3 to 4, like, Latte Laf trying to pull a ball, or Miguel Almiron trying to beat someone on speed, and I just don't see it. It's just not happening. Like, like, again, there's so many things. Miguel Almiron making like 100 runs off of the ball and not getting rewarded for it, like, once. Like, once. Like, it's just so much, man. All right, before I hog it all, Nile, welcome in. Give us, you know, what your takeaways, what your big stars of the game were, you know, and if there's any positive things you could take away from this game.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like for me, I'm still trying to process. I'm still trying to process how this game went. To be honest, there was a lot that happened. First half, I think, was maybe the best first half I've seen us play. We pressured Miami right from the beginning, got an early goal. You know, just looked great. And then second half, the first goal that, you know, Atlanta concedes is just completely stupid. Like, I don't know. You should know, like, that if you can't spend that much time playing around in your box when you have players like Messi who can instantly, with the snap of a finger, make your defense look stupid and score a goal the other way. So that's something that for me was probably the most unforgivable part of the match. The winning goal for Miami, I can understand that to a better degree than the first goal. But either way, you know, it sucks because, you know, this was a good chance to, you know, maybe get a boost from getting a win against Miami, but ultimately that didn't necessarily happen. I agree with Michael's point about, like, Miggy getting runs. The dude was making several runs in the box, but I think he's not getting enough service, and he's rightfully, I think, showed his frustration towards that. Like, Miguel can only do so much, but at the end of the day, like any other player, he needs the service to be able to do what he does. So yeah, I don't know. I think for me, I think the main takeaway is that this is going to take some time. I feel like I've said this before, but like ultimately, this $50 million attack that everybody's been like kind of very much like rightfully so like excited about, like it's gonna take some time to get to the point of that era where it's a fully functional attack, and where people ultimately are able to understand their role perfectly. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'll say. With that.
Sounds good. Any other topics you want to bring up, AJ?
Yeah, I mean, it is that. It's like Miguel Miron, from an outside standpoint, if you're not looking at his runs, people might say that, okay, he had a quiet night and, maybe it wasn't as big of a factor, but it is that. It's, this attack has not gelled. They haven't figured out how to play to each other's strengths. And yeah, there are some moments where, say, even when we did, like say Saba got in behind, he's got two runners and he doesn't reward those runs. He instead elects to shoot when his angle is not great from there. And so it's like, for you, attack wise, when do you feel like, as far as how this attack can start piecing it together? I mean, if you can't do it, I guess the question is this: it's like, the defenses in front of you. It's not like Inter Miami have a really great defense. Let's just be honest. It's like, if you can't do it against Inter Miami's defense, I mean, man, I wonder. But yeah, I mean, it's like, I guess the question is, how soon are you going to panic if we cannot start kind of becoming a little bit more fluid, a little bit more have a understanding between the attackers?
For me, I don't think I'm in the panic now. There's definitely concerns I have. For example, I think this is something that, just many people who cover Atlanta United in general pointed out, but the idea of Miggy and Moranchuk getting into the same areas is a concern, and I think that's something that has to be addressed. There has to be more specifics on where both of them should be in, what positions they both should be in, because I think having them both in the same space at the same time kind of just takes away from the impact that the attack can have. We saw this, with Pity Martinez and well, no, not Pity Martinez, but Marcelino Moreno and Barco, who they would end up in the same spots, and that would kind of make things a bit complicated. I would say, like, this is a long. I'm making this a long answer, but I think for me, like, the attack's not where I want it to be. But for me, I think when I will be concerned is if we've not. I would say in the next two months, if we're in the same position, that's when I'll start to panic. Because I think we have to realize we're 4 games in, and there's still, this is the first time we've really played full strength this entire season, and unfortunately that time came against informed Miami side.
Yeah, extremely informed. I mean,
right.
they are every bit as good, if not better, than last year.
Last year.
And we are obviously better too, but, we play differently now. We don't play the counter-attacking type as much. We tried to play them on their terms, beat them at their game, and unfortunately they are a superior team, which is why they were able to play through us so well and do what they did, even though their goals weren't exactly manufactured and put together beautifully. There was that one combination they did that had they scored, I mean, like, that is quintessential Messi Suarez, like, that's beautiful, but that one didn't materialize. But yeah, the goals that they did get, nothing to like super write home about, because one was a gift, Father Christmas added again, and then the other one was just like, what the absolute hell was that? So.
And that's what's the irony of it is that these are sucker punch goals. These are goals that are from teams usually lower in the standings for these type of incidents that happened, and it's not like a beautiful team goal that they scored. It wasn't like some combination play that was just like wow. It wasn't even a screamer. It was just mistakes that are preventable if you have just some wherewithal on the first one. Second one, also wherewithal, but again, why was there not somebody on the post? Like, it's just especially last minute, like, I mean, just you have to have some self-awareness and make sure that you don't get scored on at that moment, because you can't come back. There's no time.
And not even like against their like high quality attackers.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's a little forgivable if it was like, okay, Messi just like absolutely undoes you and scores or something, or Suarez or whatever, but like this is a MLS regular veteran. Like, what are you doing letting this guy just like last minute? It's ridiculous.
Well, that's why they got him, because his wily experience, allowed him to gain that little bit of space so that he could get that header to the...
Or he's probably sitting there thinking like, wow, I can't believe they completely let me do this. Okay.
Yeah, and it was that too. Is like he was greeting Braguzan, gave him some dap, and it was just like softened him up, and it's frustrating. It's like, yeah, Braguzan, I like usually more locked in. I feel like a little bit, but it's like save the pleasantries for later, not in the middle of the game. I feel like it was frustrating to see that a little bit. It's like it I think took him out of the game a little bit. Like, but
yeah. All right, Nile, final thoughts. We have a bunch of guys to get to today.
Yeah.
I think final thoughts is just frustrating game. The way it played out. This is gonna, I think, take more time than people want. And the struggles with the attack are there, and they need to get that sorted out sooner rather than later, because otherwise I think the hopes of a top 4 spot are not going to be able to be attained. So it's a long way to go, but there are things to work on, and it doesn't get any better because we play Cincinnati next during an international break. Don't know why MLS wants us to do that, but here we are.
It's always Ohio, right?
Yeah, it's always in Ohio with the stupid international breaks.
All right, well, thanks, Nile, and your 5 o'clock shadow looks brilliant. Thanks for coming on and talking with us.
Yeah, thanks, Wes. Yeah.
Yep, no problem. All right, we got a couple of people to get on tonight, so let's get rolling. We have Nick on next, and until he comes on, he's always quick with it. Never have to worry. He's always quick with it. Let me change your name on here real quick. Nick, how are you doing tonight?
Is that a reaction?
It is.
It's a deflating reaction. It is.
Yeah. What's the term?
I have supporter section perspective that adds to this.
Exasperated.
In big ways. I mean, there's stuff you probably didn't see on the TV broadcast. I don't know. AJ, were you at the game tonight?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So you saw what happened when the refs were walking off the field. That was classless from some of our people down there, and they will be identified and handled by the Gulch. I will say that right now, just in case anyone is wondering about that. I'm not going to sit here and rail on Pro for all the time that I'm on here very briefly tonight, as much as I want to.
Go for it. I have some things to say about it.
It's such a one-sided officiating job, and if I can observe that, there's something wrong.
Talk about the handball that should have been.
Yeah, exactly. We all saw that. My guy who was on the flag next to me said, "There's a handball right there." if he saw it, what the hell? It was right in front of us.
What'd you make of the handball, AJ?
I mean, it was a handball. I mean, it's just like
You thought it was clear cut. I mean, on the broadcast at home, it was pretty clear cut to me that it was a handball, but I have to look at it again to see if, like, did the hit of the ball kind of like reverberate his hand to come out, and then that's why it looked unnatural, or was it already extended unnaturally and was hit? I couldn't exactly tell, but it seemed like it was the latter to me after reviewing it, but I need to look at it again to be doubly sure. But it just, and in the moment it looked, and that's why I was like, okay, in the moment it looked like that. Why isn't it called / why isn't it reviewed, or at least like gone over to the monitor for that? Because I just thought it deserved a look, but
because there wasn't really a call, so that's the difficulty. I think is
right to
VAR.
overturn. That's why, he didn't call anything, so there's nothing to overturn. So,
exactly.
To my understanding, if VAR sees something, they will stop play. I mean, the pro referees have been posting videos every week on YouTube for this season, last season, on certain calls, and there was one from last weekend in the Dallas game, I believe, where they stopped play in neutral zone because they had a possible handball off a corner. So they do have the authority to stop play if they so choose.
If they so choose, that is the crux of it. And also if they so choose to look at when somebody is choking another player. If they so choose to look away while that's happening.
If they so choose, seems to not happen so choosing when Miami's playing.
If they so choose.
Exactly. And so it's that. It's like Jordi Alba, Sergio Busquets, Messi, Luis Suarez, they can get away with murder, essentially, because, a lot of mass confrontation as well. Nothing there either.
Listen, AJ. Brad Guzan is the one who needs to get a talking to after Campana pushes him into the net. That's who needs the talking. Brad needs to calm down, actually. That's who needs to calm down. Like, I was like, okay, this is obviously pro referee complicity, like, at this point, because that is the most egregious thing I have seen in MLS in a long time.
Yeah. And while from a neutral standpoint, or maybe from Dax McCarty's eyes, hilarious, it's still, like, tonight.
Yeah, they brought it up again in the pre-show. They brought it up and Brad Guzan gets stuck in the net again.
What did he say?
It was like all three of the MLS people, the broadcasters, all just like showing it again while interviewing Brad down on the pitch. If he had the headset on, he's like, yeah, that's that happened. That was what happened. it was fun.
Right. He just wants to move on from it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I would too.
He said he's like, I became a meme overnight. I'm like, yeah.
Right. But I think on his end tonight, I don't know if you guys caught it, but he was basically F-bomb to the center ref, F-bomb to the the sideline.
I didn't catch it, but it was the absence of evidence isn't the evidence of or the evidence of evidence isn't the absence of evidence. So like we saw a Brad Guzan looking mad on the broadcast and about to do an F-bomb, and they immediately cut away. So that's how we knew that he did do it.
Oh, for sure. It was glorious. I was laughing pretty hard. But and it was deserved. I mean, it was just like like there were some egregious things. But it's just like yet we almost, if we can finish our dinner.
Yeah. It's a completely different game. Latte Loft scores that, a hair offside header.
Yeah.
Like, dang.
Yeah. Exactly.
2-0 Miami's, and also like so at home on I don't know if they do this in the stadium, they show the MLS like momentum tracker where they have like a little graph that shows like what team is like likely to score. We just dominated the momentum the entire like up until us getting that goal brought back. Once that goal was brought back, Miami started surging back after that. Our the momentum on the thing just dropped for like the rest of the game, and it just never came back up again to what it was before that. And I'm like, that was a killer blow, having that goal called back.
Yeah, yeah. The field tilt, yeah, they don't show it in the stadium, but yeah, it did feel like it. It's it very much. We started to get a little sloppy. We started to lose a foothold in the possession game after that, and then yeah, I mean, Inter Miami. It was just us trying to play Inter Miami's game versus us trying to actually do what we're strong at. Which, yes, when you have three pacey players. And they're trying to run in behind, and they're not really being rewarded time and time again. It's, yeah, just frustrating to watch.
Mm-hmm. Nick, final thoughts?
Well, I will say this is I'm reading this comment in here in the chat.
The comments are spicy right tonight.
Yeah, reading me for my reaction last week. No, my blame is put where it needs to be put from match to match. And while my team did the best they could tonight and the field got tilted against them, it seems like the league script writers in the background somewhere are trying to do something, you know, and put a tinfoil hat on me or something. I mean, really, you know, but we have the ability to win these games. We just got to find it. And I still, like I said over in match day chat, I still believe in these guys. They will find it, but we're going through a gauntlet right now. Mm-hmm. We're going through an absolute gauntlet in the schedule right now. The schedule makers have it out for us as well, because like Nile was saying, we're going to play Cincinnati on an international break in Cincinnati. That's not going to be easy. And I wish I could go and experience being hated on by more opposing supporters, but at least Cincinnati's not Charlotte. Oh wait, Cincinnati lost at Charlotte, didn't they? Anyway, we won't get into that, but there's one final thing I want to bring up here.
Go for it. And
this happened directly behind us when the second goal was scored. Their winner was scored. There's a guy behind us. He had on a shirt over a shirt, and he took that shirt off, and guess what shirt was underneath? Yes, that's right.
Of course.
Yeah, yep. I brought that up with the appropriate personnel, and they will handle it, or they should be handling it. Yep. But I'm not going to rail here on the front office because that's not necessary.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't necessarily.
Shannon, we need to be better. Yes, that's true. I do agree with that, but let's have a little context here on who we're playing, the schedule. It's tough going. They're still finding themselves. So calm down, everyone. Please calm down.
Yeah. I mean, it's great in theory, but not everyone's gonna be calm when there are some things that's they want to be better. And I mean, I get it from their end. I would want everyone to be calm, but not everyone's the same person, and like the expectations unfortunately can't be set on everybody. But I get what you mean, though. It's just, it is early. There's a way to come back. With the surge, MLS is very forgiving, but you still can't go down 6 points already within the first 4 games to Inter Miami, who very well probably are gonna stay near the top, barring any sort of catastrophic injury scare or crisis. But
they handle it really well. They rotate really well, and they still get wins. So
exactly.
All right.
It's those it's the shadow DPs that they can just bring in. So,
that's right.
Anyway.
All right, Nick. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Hopefully next time we'll be able to talk to you about a W, even though it will be, like you mentioned, a difficult one. But maybe next time after that. So.
By the way, everyone, I will be at Fido Thursday night for the U.S. men's national team watch party. Do come join me in the American Outlaws, of which I'm now a member of the Atlanta chapter.
Nice. Awesome. There. Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, great organization there.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, buddy.
See you, bud.
All right. Let me read a couple of these chats while we get another person up in here. Sorry, guys. I will read your guys' chats tonight, but we're just trying to get through some of these things. When do we play weaker teams so I can feel better about my squad? Yeah, I know, Kyle. I really feel like, where's the New Englands? Where's the Torontos? Where's the teams who are struggling? That'd be nice right now. Jack Dickens says, the midfield is a big issue for me, the biggest issue in this team. And yes, I mean Schleich and Muyombo, weak as piss. Well, I mean, I do think Tristan tried his absolute hardest tonight. I think we saw, his best, which was only, decent. But then again, he is going up against a very good team. And Schleich didn't do so hot, I think. He had a tough night. I think there was a lot asked of him, and I don't know if he can do that much better. That was tough. So it is what it is when it comes to that. Let's see. There's a couple more to go over here. Emmanuel Gasper's huge disappointment. Saba is definitely lost. I mean, cue him running like what the hell's that? The silly music where someone just running into someone else. So that's him. Saba running into Latte Lath, which, oh my God, was one of the most frustrating things I have seen. It's like a blooper reel.
Yeah, and especially when you're in the box and it's like, man, it's a shot opportunity.
Yeah,
and it's just like he affected his shot. I mean, it was like one of the weakest shots that he could, and that's the thing. Latte Lath has a rocket for a leg, and it was just very uncharacteristic.
Yeah, it was very frustrating to see that. I mean, Ronnie Dial, he was asked about this in the press conference the week prior. Is this an issue? Guys doubling up on spots on the same part of the pitch, and he said, no, it's not really. This is not an issue, and here it comes again, just as if to spite what he said, literally. This comes up. So anyway, Gavin, are you there? How are you doing tonight? Unfortunately, this is not a win we get to talk to you about, but were there some good things that you took away from this match? Is there good things to come in the future for Atlanta United?
I'm hurt. I'm very hurt. Yeah, I still think we should be patient. I mean, we said that last match too. We got to calm down. Yes, we need to calm down. This one just hurts. This one just hurts because there was so much wrong. Like, Moranchuk looked awful. This result overall hurts. Like, I did not want to see a loss in this. This wouldn't have hurt as bad if we drew, but unfortunately we lost in the end, and it hurt me bad. And that was a handball. That should have at least went to the monitor, and it didn't. That really pissed me off, and I'm really pissed that we lost this game when there should have been something different happened early in the match. But yeah, it's just unfortunate, very unfortunate what we saw tonight.
Let's talk about Moranchuk. I mean, he's a very controversial figure on this team right now. What do you make of him overall? Do you think we're just not using him right? Is he not the right fit for what we're doing? Is he just, not up to his full potential for some reason?
Not yet. Last stream we talked about the same thing. I said I think he's waiting for his moment. He's waiting for his moment. I still think he's waiting for that, but at the same time tonight, I mean, he looked like he made some poor passes, poor decisions. Didn't look good. He just didn't look like a good fit tonight. He didn't. I still think we need to be patient and see what happens, but so far, 4 matches in, there's a lot of concern. There's a lot to be concerned about so far. Like, there needs to be some fixes. But yeah, Moranchuk, he's not up to it right now. So far, I still think we've overpaid so far. Like, it just hurts knowing that we paid almost $50 million for this, and this is what we're getting so far. And it's the same story. First half, we looked pretty solid at the start. We scored early, like awesome. We scored the first goal. Like, it's like historically for us, we don't lose matches after scoring first, and then that happened tonight. That's what's also what was heartbreaking about this. We always, like, we never end up losing when we score first. And I thought we could have at least had a draw. And I'm like, okay, hard fought a draw. Last match, I thought we deserved to lose. This game, I thought it was very even. We looked, I mean, I thought Miami also looked really good. They're Miami. I mean, it's Messi, Suarez. I mean, I don't think Suarez did as good. I think Messi's just insane. Guzan also did really good, but in the end, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
It just happened. It fell to Papa Pico's head, headed it in, really perfectly placed. I don't know if Guzan could have done any better, but unfortunately you lost. You had chances to win. Guzan held you tied the entire match, but
did you think Ragos Rio Novos saved their game? Did he play out of his mind, or was this like a normal match for you for him? Like
I would say it's a normal. That one shot by Tristan Muyomba that hit the woodwork. On the replay, I don't know if y'all saw, but he got his fingertips on that ball.
He did.
If
he
doesn't
saved
get
that ball.
fingertips, that's a goal.
Yeah, he saves that.
That's the game-changing play. That's the game-changing play there from Rocco Rios Novo. But overall, with all these plays, I don't think we had many shots on goal. That was probably like the one good thing that he saved right there from Tristan Muyomba, which I was shocked because you don't see Tristan do that as often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. And I think it's ultimately this. The match seemed headed for just like a 1-1 draw. It looked like, you know, from some standpoints that people were content. The players were content with what was going on. Instead of, I think, having that killer mentality and trying to, at home, put the game away. Try to get the, you know, go-ahead goal. And instead, yeah, I mean, it's like, it seems like, to a degree, well, because we kept Latte Lat in, and, you know, didn't bring on Keima Togashi, I think there was maybe a lack of, like, a goal-scoring mentality, to a degree, where, yeah, you brought in Edwin Mosquera, but it was late at that point. You know,
you brought in Jante earlier than that to try and spark something, and nothing really happened from him.
Yeah, did we bring on Jante just because he had that one magical moment? I thought we should have brought on Mosquera a lot earlier. And this also made me mad because he got hurt in the end there, and I don't know how long he's going to be out for now, but I think he was a brilliant super sub for us, and that just hurt. It just hurts how he can't stay healthy, because Mateusz Klich getting hurt for this match, that sucked, and now we have another injury. Can't stay healthy. Brooks just came back. I thought he looked great tonight.
Yeah.
But we can't stay healthy, and that's really frustrating.
Well, second half, I thought he disappeared. Him and Miggy, unfortunately, disappeared because we just didn't go down the right very much anymore for whatever reason. I'm just like, I kept yelling at the screen, like, get Miggy on the ball more. And they just didn't do it. And when they did, Miggy was like triple man covered, and he had to pass somewhere else, and then the ball went nowhere, or they passed backwards again. And it was very frustrating to see. They just couldn't get anything to go, you know, on our top guys over on the right side.
And they probably realized. Good.
It's the same story. It's the same story. First half, you don't look. I'm sorry. First half, you look good. You look great. At least in the first 20 minutes, we look really good. And then the second half, it's all gone. Like you said, Miggy, Alexi, except Alexi didn't look good the entire game, I'd say. Brooks looks good in the first half, and then, yeah, the players disappeared. We disappeared in the second half. It's the same story from what we've seen all of the season, except for the home opener, I thought. Well, that was different, but overall, yeah, this season, second half, we just disappear. And we gifted them a goal back in the game. Like I mentioned, like, in the playoffs, there's one team you can't give a gift to, and that's Miami. And then they ended up winning the game because of a gift after we scored a good goal that I mentioned last stream. We need to score a goal. We need to build off of a goal, and then we just give a gift, and now we lost, and we're back in this position.
Yeah, just to go over the stats real quick from SofaScore. Miami had 52% possession to our 48. They had 1.78 XG to our 1.04. They had 13 shots. We had 12. They had 7 corner kicks. We had 3. We had 16 fouls. They only had 7. They had way more passes than we did. They had way more tackles than we did, and a shit ton more free kicks than we did. We had 3 yellows, and they only had 1. So they, stats-wise, dominated the match as well.
Ish. I mean, besides, I think, what was it? Did you say corners?
Literally every stat they had us beat. I mean, not by a super amount, except for some of them were super, but not that much. Yeah.
Right. Besides the passes, but that's to be expected. They have more technical ability.
They also had way more tackles. They had way more free kicks. They had way more passes. We had way more fouls. They had way more corner kicks. We had way more saves, and they had way more big chances.
Yeah.
I don't like to come on here and just go off on the reffing because I feel like there's always something wrong with the reffing. Every time there's a stream and I come on, I feel like I want to talk about the refs, but I don't.
Well, here's the thing. You can talk about it. It's just here's the thing, Gavin, and everyone. This is like for everyone. Here's like kind of your card, right? To be like, here's what to do, right? If it's inconsistent reffing, that's when you can get upset and annoyed. If it's consistent, then it's like, okay, who cares really so much, right? If you're both getting shafted or the ref is not really calling anything for both sides, as long as it's consistent, who cares? But I think you're about to say, this game was wildly inconsistent.
Oh yeah. I mean, like unreal. It's just. I mean, I hate to say this too, but I feel like it's the Messi Miami glazing. It's just I feel like it's awfully suspicious how often we see this. Like I don't want to say it, but it's suspicious.
Well, it's like what Nick said. It's you're putting on your tinfoil hat for a second, but a lot of people are starting to think maybe it's not so crazy. But you know.
Yeah, like I don't think I'm going crazy over that. It's just when you say 16 fouls, I'm like, yeah, some of those weren't fouls. Maybe I'd say realistically 12. Maybe at least 4 of those weren't actually fouls. I don't even know. But,
yeah, there was definitely some embellishment, some moments that it's like, yeah, we voiced it in the stadium, like that was a bad call.
You guys were heard.
I heard y'all all the way down here, watching from my home. I heard y'all all the way from here, doing that ref. Like it was, the most ridiculous one that I saw was the Derek Williams tackle. That was very all ball clean. That was just the worst. One of the worst calls. I thought Drew Fisher was a great ref going into this match, and after tonight, oh god, that was terrible.
Yeah, wild.
I mean, there's some referees that are known for being pretty bad or at least getting hate. Like, you know, Ted Uncle just retired. One of my personal non-favorites is also Joe Dickerson. I don't like him either. But I thought Drew Fisher wasn't that bad, but after tonight, I didn't think he was that good. The reffing overall just poor.
Yeah. All right. Final thoughts, Gavin.
Yeah. It gets worse because next week you go into Cincy on an international break. You're not losing everyone because I think we will have Latte, but we'll only have Derek Williams at center back in the back. Losing Gregerson. It's like, do we have Lennon back next week? He didn't get called up for anything, did he?
No, I don't think so.
No, he's not getting called up.
I don't think he's on the U.S. national team. It's just that he just came back. So, last time I even thought about the Cincy match was last week. I'm like, oh god, Brooks isn't even back yet. And then I saw, oh, he's coming back, so that's good. But yeah, we have lots of players out, so it gets worse. It gets worse because now, next week, I don't know how you win that game on the break. I just hope Cincy's losing lots of people too. Like, I don't know if Denke's not going to be there. Good thing we don't got to face Lucho Acosta yet, because he was on Cincy, but now he's gone. It's Dallas. We do have to face him at some point, but this one hurts. It hurts bad. Hopefully we'll get revenge on Miami later this season.
Yeah.
They got their revenge, and I just hate it because I'm seeing all their fans go crazy and have the most absolutely spicy, ridiculous, terrible.
I mean, it's okay. They don't have like any standards or anything like that. I mean, they're all plastic.
Look.
It's not a big deal.
Look, there's some. Look, listen. I know some good Miami fans, but the Miami fans that I've seen.
You don't know any Miami fans. They're Messi fans. There is no such thing as a Miami fan.
Pardon me.
They're gonna be gone when he's gone.
This is all banter. I'm not actually saying that for real, but you know what I mean. It's mostly true.
Of course. Yeah, I have. Yeah. No. I'm just saying some people took it too far. Even our own fans, I'll say that. Like, you know, what Nick said, they threw like drinks down at the refs. That's just classless. That's awful.
Yeah.
That's bad. And those and comments. Which is that's what makes it like hurt worse is that like I'm just seeing all this stupid shit, and yeah, and it felt like a rivalry match. This match felt like a rivalry match. It's like when you lose these games that feel like rivalries, like the Charlotte match. Like I don't know if y'all consider that a rivalry. Some people do, some people don't.
It's getting there. It's not there yet.
Yeah, and this one just hurt worse because of everything that happens. People see it as a rivalry match. Some of their fans can be annoying, and it's like, okay, that's why it hurts. And we got scored on late because I thought we deserved a draw on this one at minimum.
Yeah, it's like I don't necessarily mind losing to Miami, but like the way we lost, I thought was a little crappy. That just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. All right, Gavin, thanks for hanging out. We'll talk to you again hopefully next time, maybe for something better, maybe not.
I don't know. Next week we'll see. Hey, I mean, last season we had lots of shockers. We beat Miami. Who knows if we can actually beat Cincy? I mean, me personally, right now, I don't see it. But if we do, yeah, I don't know. Thank you guys.
Right. Yep, no problem. Take care, buddy. Have a good night. All right, so let me read a little bit of this chat before we get our last, or perhaps last guest in tonight. Let's see. The Kung Fu says, "Ref, you suck." Shannon says, "What's up, Mike?" Level 10 says, "Just calls Christmas because we love giving gifts." Emmanuel says, "Horrible ref." The Kung Fu says, "Didn't deserve the win," probably talking about Miami. The Kung Fu says, "How can you say Miami deserved to win?" Yeah, he's just arguing with some of the guys in the chat. Try and keep it civil again. Another reminder. So Kamek says, YNWA says Saba is absolutely awful today. Yeah, he could have been better. This was one of his. So remember how I kept saying the dude is incredibly inconsistent. In order to be inconsistent, you have to sometimes be okay and good, and he hasn't been that yet. So he's slipping into just bad, which is not good. So hopefully he can go back to inconsistent soon, because I'd prefer inconsistent over bad. Let's see. Leo Charlie says, "You're still holding on to last season." Yeah, I am, because last season means a hell of a lot more than what this game was. Last season was a playoff W, a series W. That weighs a lot more than a regular season win. The Kung Fu says, "Good game nonetheless." Yeah, it was an entertaining game, even though I was edge of my seat. TJR1504 says, "Saba wasn't good. Sleesh was bad. Miyamba was shaky. I think everyone had at least one real bad giveaway. It was tough." I mean, I'll just comment on that for a second. The midfield was a battlefield. Especially in the first half, both teams were just fighting and turnover on turnover and turnover, just back and forth. It was pretty hectic there. Frenetic play in the midfield. No one really could gain a huge leg up over the other team. Second half, it was a little bit more on Miami's side. They kind of solidified the mid block, and we just could not get out. Every time we tried, we would give up the ball or have to pass backwards to the point where we'd have to hoof it, which also resulted in a turnover. So, yeah, it was rough trying to get out in the second half. You could see...
Yeah, they just didn't have that space, and it really makes it difficult when you don't have the technicians. And, Click probably would have been very much appreciated in this match. And unfortunately, wasn't able to play at all. So, that would have helped. I think it's that we, may have said that, okay, and not us, but people have said that this was pretty much as full strength as it can get, because Muyamba being a previous starter for us. But I think you see some of the frailties, unfortunately, because he's not necessarily the absolute most technical. He does offer a good bit of ball security to a sense, but not the most press resistant player by any means. And his touch also leaves a little bit to be desired too. So it's just like, you need that type of player that can actually just connect all the lines for you, and we don't have that.
Absolutely. All right, we are now joined by Nick 17. real name Nick. Nick, how you doing?
I'm great. Just chilling on the couch and drinking some much needed water and just listening to you guys. This is my first time and I'm really excited.
Yeah,
Appreciate
welcome
you
on
guys.
the show. No, yeah, I appreciate you. Wonderful voice in the chat, and as well, you see him at the tailgates and in the games. He makes himself seen, and he's a wonderful.
Just do my best.
Yeah, you're great, dude. I appreciate you being on. So yeah, take us through your feelings about this game, the ups and the downs. Like, what stood out to you? Is there any positives we could take from this game?
I'm a notoriously optimistic person, so I'm probably going to annoy some people, that are in the chat.
We need it, brother. We need some copium. There's a lot of negativity going around.
Oh God, we do. We were talking about that earlier, in our own private message, and we just need that. First, I'll shout out Tristan Muyumba. Actually, we kind of left him for dead at the end of last season. I think he's started 3 games since June of 2024, and 2 of them were this season, and one of them was Game 3 against Miami last year. And I think the last 2 games against Red Bulls and again tonight, I think he showed us there's something there. He was really good at holding the ball in midfield, being an outlet that people could find under pressure. And I actually really liked his decision making in the final third tonight. And that's not going to come off all the time. And a lot of people will think about how bad last season went for him, and kind of lean towards that side of it. And I understand, because there was a lot of bad moments for him last season. I just have this core memory of his first game with Atl Utd against Cruz Azul in Leagues Cup in 23. When we had watched Mateus Osetu and Franco Ibarra and Santiago Sosa be so stationary within their little 10-yard box in central midfield, and then he runs from center circle to the box and makes something happen, and we were like, I didn't know that was possible. And so I had that core memory, I know that's there, and I've seen that the last couple of games. So I think that's my number one takeaway today, is Tristan Muyumba, because we've seen that that's still there. We got the reports of the injuries that he was suffering throughout last season, and you never know if that's real or not. You never know if that's him or an agent pandering, or it could be anything. But whatever it was, he looks better the last couple of games. And on another positive note, Latte last score tonight. That's what you want to see from your striker that you bring in for big money. He did his job. He was good at hold up play. Had that second chance that was called off. It was on the other side of the field for me. I haven't seen it back yet.
It was not lost. It was like a hair. It was off, but it was a hair.
Right, and I think that's also what you want. You want him pushing defenders. You want him just in behind. I think that's what you want there.
I want it more.
And more of that. Yeah, I agree with you there. And
I want Latte getting called offside 3 to 4 times a game. This is ridiculous that he's not getting called off more.
Do you remember when we would get pissed off at Joseph for that? When we thought he was lazy and just not making all those runs, and then we realized no, but getting called offside is actually good, and that's what you want, because you're pushing your defender and getting it behind. I think that's super important too. And then Brooks Lennon for his first game back. It didn't look like his first game back to me, at least. I think he did a really good job in build up. I think we're gonna see some evolution there. On the right side, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be talking about Miggy and Moranchuk, how they kind of move around and switch their spots and who comes in, who goes wide. And I think Brooks Lennon will have something to say about that too, when he kind of comes up the right wing and can bomb crosses in. And I think Ronnie's been working on that with him, because it used to be Brooks Lennon just fired his cross to the back post and the guy was supposed to get there. And that's why we didn't like him as much as Julian Gressel, because Julian Gressel would play the ball to the guy. But now I wonder if Ronnie can coach that out of Brooks a little bit and be like, you can deliver multiple types of balls from different types of spaces, and that might turn Brooks into a different type of player. And I think we saw a little bit of that today, and that can evolve. That relationship with him and Latte Lath, or him and whoever's getting into the box, can evolve over the season. And it's just not all bad for me. I know I kind of talked about a lot of the first half there, but I said to my girlfriend and my sister as we walked out of the supporter section earlier, I was so much more mad last week at the 0-0 against Red Bulls, because we really left 3 points on the table there. We didn't leave 3 points on the table tonight. We would have been lucky to get a 1-1. That second goal, I watched the highlights package from Appleback, and Like that was like the slowest header I've ever seen from Fafa Pico.
Yeah.
Like that just rolled and rolled and rolled, and Gazan like was so slow to react to it. And it's hard for me to sit there and say that the keeper should do better because I don't know that I would do better there. But like, I just left this one not as frustrated as I was last week. Like I saw the building blocks 2 weeks in a row. I know that they're there. I know it's going to get better, but yeah, just a sucky one to kind of have that result go the other way today.
Yeah. And to touch on your last point about like, you're saying you don't know if you could do better. Well, that's not the standard, right? The standard is other goalkeepers in the league. And I think other goalkeepers in the league saved that second goal.
And the worst part is Rocco did do better today, and he didn't for like an entire season when he played for our team with our crest on.
It is an adage. It is death and taxes and excellent United players playing their absolute brains out when they come back to play us.
Especially if they're
You're so right. Yeah.
But it is that. I mean, he's always been great with his feet in terms of Rocco Novo. But I mean, I think saves that, he doesn't necessarily have to command the box. He doesn't necessarily or reactionary saves. He does well in, but I think that's where we kind of could have exposed him a little bit more, and that's really where it was. That first goal exposed that he doesn't have command of the box, and if we, hit him on the counter a little bit more, try to aerially be a little bit more, I think, domineering, it would have been a little bit of a different, complexion to the match. But unfortunately,
I agree. And I don't remember who said the XG numbers a couple minutes ago, but whether it was a guest or one of you guys, but hearing that we were like, only at 1.25, and then we got our 1, it was like, God, we couldn't have tested Rocco more, because they tested Brad today, and he really, other than that one moment when Fafa scores, like Brad passed the test today, and so that makes me wonder, like, why we couldn't have tested him more. Like there was someone sent a shot map in the second half into, I don't remember if it was the Fan TV Discord or a different Discord like that I'm in, but it was like so many of the shots were like to the left of the half circle right outside the box, and I was like, that's not where we're going to be taking shots from, guys. Like, can we get in the 6-yard box? Can we get a little bit closer? And so that was a little frustrating to see that map kind of show us out there. But
right, and especially with the first match of the season, there were so many chances in the box, and it's different defense that we faced.
Different defense, different keeper.
Yeah. But it is still, it's like we were really trying to make things happen in the box, and we were a little bit more allergic to the box in this one. And yes, again, you have to play the defense in front of you, but it's just like, runs weren't being rewarded. There were definitely a lot of players that were probably frustrated with each other. You could see it on the pitch as well. And it's just, there's something about it right now that they're showing their frustration. That worries me a little bit. So, I don't know about you.
So expand on that for me. I think it's a good thing that they're showing frustration, because I felt like last year when things were going sour and then Pineda ended up getting the sack, like I felt like they were showing frustration, but like it wasn't the same as it is now, if that makes sense. I wonder if it, like, do you think that that's different at all from last year to this year, early in the season?
Yeah, there's different ways of showing frustration for sure, because if they're just blaming each other, that's not what we want. But if it's hey, like, I need, like Joseph Martinez, he's like, I need the ball here so that I can score with my strong foot here in like on the front post. Because I'm gonna make this run. Like, that's showing frustration, but also constructive to be able to make the team better. But,
absolutely.
And I think, I don't know, you can't read the lips completely. I mean, we read the lips of Braguzan today, but
that was funny.
But but otherwise, it's like a little bit more difficult, to tell with outfield players. But what I worry about, I think, is that they're not figuring it out. They're not telling each other, hey, this is how I need the ball. This is how I can succeed. Because if it were, we would be seeing a little bit more. So,
I think so. I think
that is different.
The international break is really going to be interesting because Miggy Almiron's not going to be here next week, and Alexei Miranchuk's going to be here next week. I'm really interested to see what that looks like, especially, Edwin, you don't know if Edwin was going to get that start on the wing or not over Jean De Silva, but I get it after the way he got carried off, it's looking like it's going to be probably Saba and Jean De on those two wings, and you got to wonder how Miranchuk looks next week without another major type of creator in there with him. So that might. I'm not saying Miggy's going to come back and get benched or anything like that. That's not how that goes. But I'll be really interested to see how Miranchuk looks next week against weakened Cincinnati defense. We saw that red card last night. We saw Miles go out last night in Charlotte. Be really interested to see how Alexei looks next weekend.
I don't think he's going to look good. I think he's going to look bad. I think a couple of the players, unfortunately, are getting a little bit in their own heads. I feel like they're probably playing a little bit worse based on the fact that they maybe are a little anxious and they're apprehensive and they're kind of pent up of trying to get the monkey off their back. They're like, okay, let's just get that win, let's get these goals, let's just move on, get things running again. But they just, every game they can't do that. It's just building, and then in their mind they're like oh, I'm gonna make, they think about things too much, and I don't know if what's going on with Ronnie telling them if it's too complicated or whatever, but they just aren't able to make it work. And so now they think too hard, or they get anxious and they make the wrong decision, which tonight I felt like minimum 50% of Alexei's decisions tonight were wrong ones, which for your $12 million man is not a good look. You need to have a lot of safety on that type of player, and I felt like it just wasn't there. So, and I feel like he's better than that. And so what I think it comes down to is that he's feeling a little anxious. I think he's a little confused about what his role is here and what to do. Maybe with Miguel kind of almost absorbing a little bit of his space and what he does. Saba cutting in a little too much. I don't know, crowding is what we've, Doug Roberson asked Ronnie Diallo, is there a crowding issue in the middle? Is that something you need to work out? And he's like, no, there really isn't that issue. Seems to be an issue. So, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but either way, I still think, and this is kind of reminiscent of previous years, is a bit of an emotionality and mentality fragility of the team. It's like when things don't start going your way, all of a sudden you start playing worse, and now it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and results get, that you should have gotten, now just get away from you. And that, I just don't like to see that. I mean, Latte Lot did what he could. Grab his end, did what he could, and then the rest is just what do you, it's not good enough. So
yeah. And go ahead, AJ, sorry.
Oh, no worry. I'll add this. That tracks because it's also, I think Saba is doing that kind of similar thing as well, where when I spoke about it earlier, when he had two runners in the box and elected to shoot instead.
Yeah.
And it's just
right, dribbles right up to the near post. I remember that. That was on our side, right by the score restriction.
And it's just that's not what you're my guy. You have to pass
your head up. He never picks his head up anymore. It's so frustrating.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And trying to make things happen where he's forcing it versus playing the right ball.
Yeah.
If everyone was just playing the right ball, and okay, it didn't come off, okay, whatever, make the right decision. That's the minimum.
Yeah, the decision making is going to be key for how I kind of see Ronnie's evolution as our coach, I guess, because you can come in here the preseason, they clearly improved every preseason game that I watched to the Montreal game, and I wonder how much that has stagnated now, because it's, I guess, training camp and preseason camp are just different in some ways. It's going to be really key to see some of those hearts that Ronnie has with the players behind the scenes and how that then translates to what we end up seeing. Because I think I said in the Soccer Wise Discord, shout out Soccer Wise podcast, my favorite national kind of media podcast. I said this to a couple of guys in there. They were asking me what I thought, and I said, well, I'm going to be really interested to see what Ronnie Diallo says to Alexei and to Miggy, when they're back in training together in a couple weeks, about 10 days or so. They'll have some time apart. They'll play a game without each other. because those are the two guys that are kind of stifling the creativity, and those are also our two most creative players. And it's kind of this weird catch-22 of like, well, neither of their strongest position is the right wing, and one of them's going to have to play there if they're both on the field. And so that interchange, and like I said, how Brooks kind of helps take that space, and how all of that works is kind of the biggest mystery of the season. And I wish I was smart enough tactically to kind of have an answer, but
well, I hate to press you on that, but I have to ask: do you think there's any Ronnie Deila tactics that are at fault here in this run of form? One big criticism I've seen in the community is that he doesn't seem to adjust in the second half. It just seems to be other teams adjusting to us and then figuring us out. Do you think that's what's going on, or do you have a different appraisal?
I remember some of the NYC folks' reaction to Ronnie being hired in Atlanta, and their reaction was, you guys are going to like him, but you're going to get mad at him for how long it takes him to adjust. And at first I was kind of like, well, does that mean like game-to-game adjustments, like in-game adjustments? Like, what does that mean? And, I think we might be kind of seeing that now with, does he adjust in the second half, and how does he do it? And so, I mean, I'll admit this too, like, right when Gonzo was gone in early June last year, I was like, they need to go get Ronnie Deila. Like, that's the guy. And then he went and took the UAE job, and we had the whole Rob thing and the playoffs and all that. And Ronnie ended up getting the job. I was thrilled. I thought he was the right guy. I think the tactics are only as good as the players that execute them. That's one of the things that shot Gonzo in the foot so long. And it's so tough because it's only been 4 games. So I don't want to harp on anybody too hard. Like, I really believe in this team. I believe that this can work.
Do you see a difference in Ronnie's tactics and what his vision is so far than what Gonzo did at his quote-unquote best?
I don't think that they're all that dissimilar, and I don't think that they're all that dissimilar from what a lot of coaches around the world are doing. It's very standard 4-2-3-1, like high-flying fullbacks and wingers pinching in on their opposite foots. Like, a lot of that is like very standard stuff that I think you see all over the world.
So let me ask you a follow up, because one of our guys in our Discord brought this exact point up earlier tonight. Is playing a system like that too complicated for an MLS team, or for our team in particular?
And see, that's a great question, because then you get into, well, it's kind of the same team that finished 9th last year, plus Latte Lath and Almiron and Click. It's kind of the same team other than that. That's a really, really good question. Maybe somebody should, analyze that. Maybe we should analyze that deeper. It's tough because, you look at it last year and we basically swapped out 2 DPs, and now it's kind of, I don't think it's the same struggles as last year. Like, I don't want to sit here and say like, oh, nothing's changed, because I think things have changed. But I wonder if teams have just know how to come here and play at the Benz, sit there in their low block, and then get their chances. And I'm not saying that's what Miami did today, but that's what Montreal did. Yeah,
Miami's not going to ever do that.
No, that's not Miami's game. But like in 2 weeks, that's what New York City's going to come in here and do. And so, like Cincy without their center backs, that's what they're going to do next week. I wonder if teams have just kind of figured out, like, hey, that's what you do against us, and you're probably going to stifle us, and if not, then you just take your loss and move on. I wonder if that's just how Atlanta is now.
That is a meme in the community.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of been the MO even when Tato was here. I mean,
that's true.
Yeah, so it's not entirely a different strategy for even, say, Miami. It's it's just the matter of, do you have the technical ability to break down a deep lying block? And oftentimes we do not. And
and to that, like, I think this roster is better than last year's roster. Like, I think Almiron is not a bit. I don't want to say like better than Almada at this stage. I think he works for the team better than Almada does. I think Latte Lath is better than Giacomakis. I think Flick is better than, 2024 Tristan was starting last year. You can take whoever you want in midfield there. I think over time it will work. It's just not right now. And, some of the injuries are to do with that in preseason. Some of it is it's game 4 of the season under a new coach. I'll be really interested to have this conversation again in 5 games.
I mean, again,
You know what I mean?
it's another discussion tempered by margins. Is that you know, we score that second hitter a hair offside, game has probably a very different complexion.
Or Muyumba's thing goes on the bottom of the post instead of the top.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, that shot, holy, you know what? Like, that was crazy.
Now, here's the thing. Like, so Tristan's shot, now that's not like a system product that Ronnie Dyla's like, all right, every game we're gonna have Tristan take a shot from here and he's gonna score, and we're gonna rely on that. No, what we do have though is Brooks putting in excellent crosses to Latte Lot, and that seems to be something that's repeatable. And I'm really interested to see that continuing, that, like you said, that relationship blossoming over the course of the season.
Right, that's a pattern of play that we can repeat. Tristan Muyumba taking a pot shot. I mean, decent shot. It's just a matter of he's not known for his ball striking usually, you know, and so it's one of those things where it's like, we know Muyumba's strengths, but him taking that shot, it's like pleasantly surprised. And that's,
I expected it to go as well as Pedro Amador's random shot he took that went into like the parking lot.
Right. Yeah. You know, and that, or there was I think a Lennon cross, and then Shane Silva tried that bike.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I know. But and so it's that too. It's like, okay, well, if we're gonna try to have Lennon cross early and not try to do one of those byline crosses that inevitably doesn't really hit anybody, I think that's at least better.
Yes.
Silva, probably, I think maybe had the time to actually take that touch down.
Like, I wonder if he brought it down. Like, what does that look like then? Like, does somebody open up at the back post for him to slide it to, or is that shot better for him? I agree with you.
Yeah, and so it's a matter of these players are snatching at these chances because they're trying to make something happen. Because we have a competition for places. That's good.
We do.
But you have these players that essentially they know they have to do something in order to keep their place too, or at least get more minutes. And you're seeing it with Saba, you're seeing it with Silva, you're seeing it with Mascara, who usually doesn't shoot from where he does for the Montreal match, but did, and
we got lucky.
Right. And so we talk about these margins as well. CF Montreal, they hit the crossbar in the pretty much dying minutes. Yeah. And so
they did.
This whole season so far is...
They're one of the worst teams in the league, too. So, and we barely got out of there with 3 points.
Yeah. So it's one of these things like, this season might look completely different with every one of these little micro moments that maybe isn't what actually happens in a different universe. But
that's true.
The crux of it is that, are we seeing enough patterns of play that give us encouragement?
I'm not. Personally, I'll just put out, I am not. So what do you guys think?
And AJ, you sparked something for me in there. Let me ask you this. So in the second halves, and let's say Miami's second half today and Red Bull's second half last week, right? This is kind of my closing thought here. I felt that the team played with a more sustained, like, potential of scoring, I guess is the best way I can say that, at 11:53 p.m. And I felt like there was more of a chance that they would score throughout these second halves than I did in years past. In years past, I felt like we would get to the 80th minute and be like, holy shit, we're down a goal. Like, we need a goal now. And we're going to change what we're doing to be more energetic and push more guys forward and possess in the final third more. I felt like we changed what we did around the 80th, 75th minute, whatever you want to call it. I felt like this season, when we have been chasing in the second half, those 2 home games, not in Charlotte, like in Charlotte, we got game stated to hell and it was over after Zaha scored his goal. But the last 2 second halves, I really thought it was more sustained pressure upon the goal and it just didn't fall. Do you think that's better than it was in years past, or do you just kind of see it as like we're chasing a goal?
Personally, for me, I don't see it better. I mean, maybe because we had Almada in the past, who's, you know, the definition of the cardiac kid who just saves us at the end of the game. So there have been times where, I mean, AJ kind of said this earlier, I think tonight, where he talked about how, you know, it's kind of the inverse, right? It's like in the past, we've been the ones who kind of just clawed something back at the death, versus now where we're like, losing it. We're dropping points towards the end, but, you know.
Yeah, I mean, to answer your question, I think it's that, you know, there is a difference in the way that we're starting matches and ending matches. I wonder if it's got something to do with the not only fitness of the players, the age of these players, because we're not exactly the youngest side, and these players, not anymore. And you know, Almada definitely way different age difference than Miguel Miron, who still shows oodles of energy throughout the entire match. But the problem is, these players aren't being maybe as productive as some of the other players, at least so far. And so when we were able to save previous matches, at least earlier on in 2024, earlier on in 2023, where you know, we were from the death of a game, we were able to get a draw or get a win. It was a different energy because it was absolutely throw everything against the wall, just, you know, try everything and, you know, make it happen. And you don't see that type of urgency, I think, this year so far, for a lot of reasons. I feel like whether it is fatigue, whether it is players not really gelling together yet and not really knowing each other's tendencies.
That's a really good point about the players' age, is like, you know, can they sustain this? And I look at the subs that came on today, like Jean Day, Mosquera, Jay came on. I look at kind of those guys and I'm like, well, I don't know, like if all those guys coming on affects that age argument, but then those guys are coming on in the 85th minute. That goes back to what you asked me about, you know, is Ronnie subbing in time? Is Ronnie subbing too late? You know, like I think it'd be interesting to see if that gets solved. And I also wonder, are they not throwing the whole kitchen sink forward because they actually trust the tactics? Because they don't feel like they have to? Or are they not throwing the whole kitchen sink forward because they physically can't? I wonder how much. I wonder how much about, like, are our tactics actually going to work and get us through this? Like, we believe that they can. Versus, I felt like with Gonzo, they would just take matters into their own hands a lot, and that got us some results.
Right, and that definitely is probably the difference. Yeah, because Almada definitely.
I'd be really interested to see how that goes throughout the season.
Right. Because Almada definitely, he took the reins, basically probably 75th minute on, when he's like, oh shit, okay, well, now we actually have to figure out.
And he's a player who can just take a game and change it by himself. Whereas I don't really think we have a player like that at that level. Like Almiron is close to that, but not. I don't think so. So I think
Alexi's not bad.
Yeah, I don't think we have a guy like that right now. So we'll see less of that at the death types of dramatic, crazy, like, oh, I just need to go grab the ball, do what I need to do, and score a goal right now. I don't think we have a player like that.
And to be fair, it wasn't only on Almada, because I mean, you had like the Jake Mulraneys and Dom Dwyer,
scored that 25 yards out once, like just out of nowhere, just random. So.
Yeah, and that's, I think, a mindset thing. And if you look at killers on this team, well, I think Latte Lat, like he gives me that. It's not Maranchuk.
No,
I think Miggy could be that. He just might need some time to relearn the league. Like, it's a lot different than it was when he left.
Because he hasn't been playing in Newcastle for a while. He hasn't had meaningful minutes in a long time. He needs to just get probably some more time to be, because we do know he can score. AJ did remind us last episode, though, that he takes a shitload of shots and he doesn't have a great ratio, but he does score. So you can expect him to score eventually, and that'll probably just take some time to get there.
And my kind of closing thought here is, Ronnie Dyla's NYCFC team in 2021 had 51 points, and so we're not going to be a Shield winner this year. Maybe in the future, like maybe. And that was the second year with Ronnie too. It was the 2020 year they were probably, like, NYCFC is just like the most fifth place team in the Eastern Conference ever. Like they're always just right there in the middle.
That's a good way to put them. Yeah.
And sometimes they win a playoff series, and sometimes they went all the way that one year with him. And
I think the middiest mid team.
Yeah, and I think it'll take some time to gel, and I think that's okay. I just hope the fan base will stick it out, because I think when it gets there, it's going to be really great. And it might mean we're 5th or 6th in the conference again this year, and then we get it next year. So
Nick, I gotta ask you. I should have asked everyone else tonight. I completely forgot to do this. Do we get rid of Miranchuk by the summer?
My conspiracy theory is Garth is just committed to him being like the best player in the world.
Okay, so you're sticking with him. I made a gentleman's bet with Glenn from the 5 Takes that he will be here until next season, and he thinks he'll be out of here by before the start of next season.
So your side was Alexi's start is here on opening day 2026.
Yeah.
See, a lot of people are saying get him out in the summer. I don't think that's going to happen. If it's going to happen, it's going to be next winter, and that's where your bet is so interesting.
Yeah, I don't think that he's. I think kind of what you were saying. It's kind of a sunk cost fallacy that they're like, well, we put our faith in this guy. We can't really immediately cut him off.
And they're not going to make that money back for him either.
That too, but but then again, so my premise came from this, or my argument kind of comes from the history of Garth going, I'm giving a long leash to Bocaneer. I'm giving a long leash to Gonzalo Pineda. So now it's, why wouldn't he give a long leash to Alexei Miranchuk? Give him a try. But Glenn's argument was, well, a competent manager will cut and run if they just see it not working. And I'm like, now you put the screws on me, because I do believe Garth is a competent manager and he will make that call if he has to do it. But I also feel like he gives people time. So I feel like he'll at least give him, he's supposed to be the big DP number 10 signing for us. I think they give him at least, another season after that. But
I think he's going to get the full year. And so that's why your bet is so good and so interesting, because he can get this full year and then still be out by opening day next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very well. Yeah, it could be
so tough.
But it's also this. It's like he hasn't even been here for half a season, really.
Yeah.
And also, he had 3 assists in the Miami series last year. No wonder Miami was sitting there triple teaming him today. He assisted both of TRA's goals in Game 3, and then he assisted John Day in Game 2. No wonder they're sitting there with all their eyes on him. They're triple teaming him. I get it after how that went last year.
Right. And so it's very well that they figured out also how to play, some of the players that did them damage last season.
Exactly.
It's we also have to give credit to the opposition as well a lot of times, where, it's not always said. And yes, the crux of it is we faced Inter Miami and the GOAT, and we almost got a draw out of it.
One, and this is what I said to the guy on the MARTA train next to me. I was like, how many times can we overcome the Barca boys and all of Chris Henderson's draft picks and the referees and Don Garber himself?
The odds are stacked definitely against you. The power of friendship can only take you so far, I guess.
It can, but that tweet I put out earlier is still going, so everyone's still slamming me, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and to be fair, no one in this league has figured out Miami this season yet either. They are unbeaten, and internationally as well.
Yes. They kind of had the red carpet rolled out there for them in CCL, but
they really have. They really have. You're right.
You're not going to play a Liga MX team till the semis. Come on, guys, really?
Yeah.
You're going to get LAFC in the semi or in the quarters. Come on.
Yeah. It's It's fishy, but either way. Yeah, Nick, appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. This was awesome.
Yeah, no problem. It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
All right,
And
y'all.
yeah, welcome back anytime. But yeah, we'll let you go. But yeah,
All right.
have a good rest
Sounds
of the night.
good. Good night, guys. See you later.
See ya.
See ya.
All right, so let me take a look at the chat. I have been a little negligent on that. Magic World says, I think both teams escaped from red cards on Alba and Miguel Almiron. Not sure. I would have to watch the game again to really think about that. TJR says, yeah, goal was weird. Goose seemed to be tracking it, then held up last second because of the defender. It appeared Edwards, wasn't it? I think it was Williams, right? Going towards the goal. Yeah, I think it was. The Kung Fu also said it is so flat-footed in second 45. Oh yeah, we were so flat-footed in the second 45 minutes. Brian Baird says, being an Atlanta United fan is painful. Ingest 100 says, Saba out. Shannon Sharp says, guys, why is our starting 11 older than Miami when they have 4 players over 35? We only have 1. That is something to be discussed. M. Level 10 says, best way to best Miami is in quick transition or stretching them. Oh, we know. We were the kings of doing it. Unfortunately, we did not do that this game. Shannon Sharp says, Nile, stop making excuses. TGR says, go watch the third goal by Preston North End from their FA Cup tie against Burnley. 3-touch goal from almost defensive third to fight back to the net. All started by a long switch. We should be doing that. Yeah, I noticed an alarming lack or dearth of long switches tonight. Did not have those. Almada did those like clockwork. We are not doing those. It's really concerning to me. He also says, to your point about runs being made and not rewarded. Yep, I mean, yeah, dude, we're supposed to be a fast team. Where is the speed being utilized? It's infuriating. Magic World says, nah, they have better defense that last season. Emmanuel says, they all want to score their goal. Yeah, I think that's true. Shannon says, AJ, they had a whole preseason together. How long do they need to learn to play together? As fans, we need more informed analysis than this. First of all, this is not an analysis show, so let's just put that out there. We're not professional analysts just saying that. But yeah, go ahead.
Right? So they didn't really have a full preseason together. That was the thing. Like, Manuel Atl came in pretty much the second to last preseason match. So
yep. And Miguel too. Not
exactly like Miguel Miron the game before that. And again, they didn't have very hard opposition that they were facing as well. It was the likes of,
Birmingham Legion.
Yeah, it's like you have USL sides that, yes, we lost to them. Chattanooga FC. Like, these are not teams, though, that get you ready for a season when you're facing the likes of Inter Miami. And even then, we are not getting stormed off the pitch.
Yeah.
But are we leaving a lot to be desired from a clinical standpoint, from a chemistry standpoint, from a satiating the fans standpoint? Yeah. Like, that's part of the issue that is rife at hand. Like, we weren't ready for the season. Like, that much is clear. Like, yes, the CF Montreal match against a very lackluster defense, okay, you skirted by on talent. You skirted by on the skills of the players.
And a wonder goal.
And a wonder goal, yeah. Versus actually having patterns of play that are repeatable. So far, what have we seen that's repeatable?
Yeah, exactly. That's the biggest issue for me. The system. Where's the system? Emmanuel Gasper says they end up running to each other. Yep, the running into thing. That's going to be a meme. I can already see it now. The Kung Fu says, talk yo-ish, Nile. Saba ain't it. Quiswary says, any expectations at all of us on Saturday versus Cincinnati with several players to be out due to international duty? I'm not looking forward to it. Let's just put it that way. Kung Fu says he looks confused with the ball at his feet. That's Saba. He also says, Nick, Guzan is old. Yelling instead of saving goals. Guzan was fine. Pick a different battle. Pick a different hill to die on. And then TJR says, Cincy may have players out too. Miles went off hurt yesterday. Yeah, I saw that. So he very well may be out. He also says, from what I've seen on other platforms, the commentator said VAR looked and found it inconclusive for the handball. Absolutely horrid. Completely agree. Jesus Christ, guys, a lot of comments. I'll try to get to them.
If we can't get to all of them, we can't get to all of them.
I'm just trying to speed run. If you find anything interesting, let me know. AJ and Mike, what was your best midfield? What was our best midfield last year? I mean, our midfield was not good last year, so I'm not gonna really pick one and go like, yay, that was great. I don't even think that needs to be talked about because we didn't have a good midfield last year.
It's not going to be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, Brian Salazar said this ref made Miami look like and let win just like Club America. That's coming from a Club America fan, so biased. It's Alan Salazar. Good to see you, buddy. Good to talk to you. Brian said 12th place, -2 goal differential, $50 million for DPs. What's going on? Shannon said accountability. Miami struggled with a semi-pro team last week. I don't know about that. ML guys, who will we have missing versus Cincinnati? Yeah, we'll cover that in the episode this week. Someone other than number 19 needs to get going. Yeah, again, it's that everyone needs to be running, and I don't see any runs. LexZone6 says, have any of you been impressed with anything Maranchuk has done since he got here? I mean, I'm not going to talk about last year, but this season, not really. Omar GS says we should get the W against NYCFC. Hope so. Lexzone says Latte Left was Swiss cheesing Miami's back line, but his teammates up front let him down. Brian Diefenbach says it's called Yakety Sax, that silly song you were looking for. Thank you very much. The Kung Fu, be patient. That's how you lose games. Play a damn full 90. Stop being soft and being patient. I don't care who the opponent is. He also says the $50 million man is the only one doing anything. Well, he's not 50. That's just the total sum of the war chest. TJR says Mira did not look awful. He was fine tonight. I don't get that. I think he didn't. I mean, I'm not going to say awful. I'm not going to say that. But I'm like, he's just not. He didn't help. He wasn't effective. And when you have a guy who's supposed to have that kind of price tag, you expect him to be at least effective or helpful, even if he doesn't score or assist. And I just didn't see that. I didn't see any of that. So that's my gripe with him. Omar Gia says, I did see a lot of players asking for passes to continue the play, but most would go elsewhere and kind of kill the play. Yeah. TGR said, looked like a definite bad knee injury for Mascara. Hope, but it's nothing that bad. Brian says, Dyla is unwilling to change his tactics. It kind of seems so. Shannon says, Gavin, stop blaming the refs. What about the foul Almiron got and he wasn't touched? Yeah, I mean, listen, Almiron learned that in the Premier League, all right? He knows when he feels a little bit of touch, he goes down and he can sell it. He definitely learned that in the EPL, that's for sure. Gavin said, Shannon, did you not hear me when I said I don't like to come on and talk about the officiating? Yeah, and there's that. But apparently I'm blaming the refs for the loss. Yeah. Connor Thompson says, so anyone on the hot seat, or did we forget the defense side of the ball, looking like a missed playoff or 8th place this year? But could just be mad. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. A lot of people are pressed and heated right now, and that's expected and okay. So I'm not going to jump off any kind of cliffs at this point to say like, oh, definitely 8th place or missed playoffs or anything like that. Just give it a little more time. We're not at alarm bells yet. Kung Fu says we need a new goalkeeper. Goose is cooked. Let's not talk about goalkeepers. Our Atl Utd team is bad too. Yeah, well, they're not unfortunately supposed to be good. It's kind of by design. Gavin Marshall says, if Alexi is confused, then there is a very big problem. I mean, yeah, he needs to just get ingratiated in the system.
This Alexi is a right winger. He's not a right winger. He's not pacey. It's not in any way gonna make us better by putting him on the right wing. Like, yeah, his deficiencies actually get covered up by him being in the middle. So yeah, Alexi has played there, but it's not effective. It's one of these things. Okay, yeah, maybe if he stays back and Lennon actually, kind of gets ahead of him, well then yeah, you can at least take up different spaces. possibly, but by any means what a traditional right winger should be in terms of, running in behind, putting in, balls from the byline if that is the case, or shooting from the right. I mean, I think the only thing that he can really achieve is shooting from the right, and that's if you give him space and time, which the book's out on him probably, where it should be. So yeah, this whole I think if anything, there is a possible thing of maybe switching Miguel Miron to the left a little bit, and Saba over to the right.
Yeah.
A little bit more often, so that they actually don't occupy the same spaces and zones. So, yeah.
I mean, or like Moranchuk dropping deeper too, and not so much trying to come up, because he just gets devoured. Like Miami knew to devour him.
Right. And so, yeah, I see Shannon trying to come for our heads a little bit, which
that's fine. It's fine. They do this every week, and that's fine. Come with your curses, come with your stuff. It's fine.
What I'm trying to say is, though, come correct, because what you're saying right now is you're just trying to come for our heads without actually having, what you're trying to say. It's just like, okay, the AJ's coming around of us, the idea of us being old. It's like, when did I not acknowledge that?
I think last week, we did push back a little bit on that point. I thought it was a little hyperbolic to call our team very old. But
it is one of the older sides in the league.
Yeah.
Sure, it's a fact.
Yeah.
And so, yes, fatigue, if you look at it, that can start to be a factor. If we push back on it, I mean, yeah, we can watch it back and see, okay, well, what was said? And I think the matter of the fact is that, yes, you still have a good core of players that are relatively young, but you have a 40-year-old Goose. You have Click, who is, I think, 35? Miggy, 31. Like, if you have the core that is supposed to be the core, kind of on the older side, well then yes, you do need to be able to figure out, okay, how do we sustain this energy for a full 90?
Yeah.
And that's the crux of it.
Yeah, Shannon, we appreciate the banter. Keep it up. We appreciate it. They also say, guys, do we understand what you're saying about players who make millions making poor decisions? Yeah, but it's just like you have people making millions all across the world playing high-level soccer who make poor decisions once in a while. It's not crazy. It needs to be critiqued when it happens. You need to balance. Yes. All right, we're almost through these guys. Thanks for hanging in. Brian says 51 points seems low for NYCFC. I mean, that was kind of the point he was being made, and they still won the cup. So he also says lack of tactics from Dyla. It is aggravating. You just played a match where the team we are playing had 8 matches in 26 days, and we didn't stretch them with our speed at all. I mean, yeah, we've harped on that already. I was incredibly frustrated by that, and it seems to be a pattern. I don't see us, breakneck speed, making the other teams just like having fits from us, running them into the ground. It's just not happening. I want to see more of that. When you buy speed, use speed. It's weird, and we're not. Shannon also says Inter struggle with a semi-pro team from Jamaica. I mean, they didn't struggle. They completely dominated them in terms of aggregate. So they were game stating that in terms of a series. Brian said, and trust me, he is. Go research him. I'm not coming for your head. Trust me, I'm just not. I am not guessing. Tonight, our average age is 29, and Miami is 28. It's fine. The age argument is what it is. But again, for me, the age shouldn't be that big of a factor that causes significant things to happen in a game for us. It should not be a thing. So I'm not even gonna care that. Oh, we have a higher average age than another team, and then we lose. I'm not gonna point to that now being the reason. Even if we do have a fall off in the second, I just don't see that as a usable excuse. If it is what's happening, it needs to be fixed. It's not something that you can just be like, well, we're just older. You're gonna have to. That's just how we are. It's like no. You know.
And that's what it is that yes, you protect your players a little bit more by minutes management, a little bit more players coming on for some of these players that are a little bit older to preserve them for an entire season. But to the whole not coming from my head, as fans, we need more informed analysis than this coming from Shannon. So not coming from my head, that's pretty much that's the epitome of coming from my head. And again, come correct. Because
what is that? What's that for? That quote? It's like if you're gonna swing for the king, you better not miss.
Exactly. So if you want to talk about it, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, like be sure to aim all of your most pointed arguments specifically at me because I'm far less equipped at dealing with them than AJ is. But if you aim them at AJ, good luck is all I'm saying. Anyway, all right. So that's pretty much it. I know it's not personal. Like I said, we love the banter. We appreciate it, Shannon.
It's like if you're gonna say something, I'm gonna address it, and that's what
he's gonna take out his readers, his glasses, put them on, and he's gonna make sure get all litigious on you. All right, so I think that's pretty much about it. We got through all the comments. Whew. Man, this was a difficult game, difficult night. But yeah, I can't say that's the end of. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It still seems that there will be more tunnel ahead of us, so who knows when that will abate. But right now, thanks for hanging out with us and for slogging through this, not the high point of the season, we'll call it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it is like it's like the we'll go deep cut here, but like an episode of The Walking Dead where they're walking through like a tunnel and it's like just all rocks and. That little sliver of light. Right now, we're hanging on to that little sliver of light that hopefully there aren't zombies on the other end and just gonna devour our season. So, yeah, hopefully.
Is that show still on the air?
I think so.
Damn, that'd been going for a long time.
I know.
I remember reading the comics before it was a show. That was crazy. All right.
Yeah. But anyway, so that does it for the stream then, everyone. And for Michael, I'm AJ. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. We appreciate you all for hanging out. And we will see you in the next video. Good night.
See you guys.